Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Young. I'm just going to walk you through career and financial management strategies for the millennials. This is a group that will be probably between their 22 to 38 age group. And basically, I want to target the specific audiences because this is a key area that people fall in the traps to kind of understand the demographics and what's influencing this particular group of individuals. So let me talk a little bit about what I plan to do tonight. I plan to go through the issues facing the millennials. I'll talk about the educational system. I'll talk about how the millennials can help themselves, and I'll talk about how the millennials can help manage their finances. So let me do a brief introduction to myself as the presenter. I'm a CPA, CGA by trade, so I have 25 years of corporate finance. So I've seen just about anything that has to do with business for the last 25 years in terms of technology, just how business has operated. I've been a CPA CGA since 1996, so I'm coming up to my 20 years having my designation. I've also been an educator, so I've actually spent some time in education in terms of lecturing potential CGA and CPA students. Now let's talk about the issues facing the millennials. The student debt levels now are quite high now, and I pulled this number from 2015, and it could be a little bit higher in this, but basically most students are coming out of university or college with about $28,000 in debt. That's significant because now you have to pay that debt in. You made that investment in that debt, and that debt has to be paid back. Now what you're faced with is you're coming out, you've been sold an idea that you're going to be able to get a certain job in the area chosen profession. Now what's happening is you're seeing slower job growth. The economic growths now are at 1.5 to 2.2%, which is much slower than what was in the 90s and previous decades where we're seeing 3.5 to 4.5%. The other issue facing is housing costs have grown exponentially over a period of 20 years to make the average new house almost unaffordable for the millennials for right now in terms of what's required. That's a big key aspect now, and that's why the condo development market is what it is. Now, you're also seeing low wage growth. What I mean by that is you're not seeing 3-4% wage growth. You're lucky if you see 0 to 2% wage growth over the years. So you're not seeing a huge growth in earnings. So you're almost seeing stagnation with earnings. There's some growth, but you're not seeing a considerable amount of growth in wages. Now, why are the millennials struggling so much? Well, typically what happens, it starts with education. As you're going through your primary, secondary to pick a career, what's happening now is universities, the teachers are pushing you into a university degree. It's really up to the students to do some research here, so to make sure that your degree is actually going to be a return on investment. What I mean that is if you're going to invest 40 grand, 28,000 or whatever into student debt, you need to make sure that you're going to get a payback in terms of the salary expectations in the career. It's up to you to kind of research that in terms of what the skill sets are required. Too many times you're being pushed into career segments where your teachers are pushing you into a particular direction. You need to get that figured out. Second thing is university doesn't necessarily prepare you with the soft skills required. And that gets into certain things like critical thinking, gets into interaction, all the critical things that are going to make you successful depending on what career you choose, and that's something critical that you need to work on. The other main point too here as well, government needs to focus on skills development. We need to start targeting students at the high school level to go into careers where there's potential of uptick, whether that's the skilled trades, whether that gets into certain IT skills. That's what they should be pushing as part of the overall educational mandate. So these are areas that as you're managing yourself, education expectations should be asking questions. What can the millennials do to help themselves? Well, first of all, you need to do research on your proper career options that are going to have some potential for you in terms of income. The other key is network. In other words, try to get involved as soon as possible through social media. And I don't mean Facebook because that's not a good example of it. What I mean is you should be using professional sites like LinkedIn or any sites that are going to be able to connect you with young professionals or professionals that you may be able to mentor, and that's what you're seeing in the next line, to kind of mentor you into business or a particular career, whether it's the skilled trades or whether it's into education. That's up to you to kind of do that. The second point that you need to do is treat your name as a brand. Your name is a brand name. That brand name is critical in terms of moving your career forward. So if you're working for BYZ company, you may find that's a harder way to upsell your skills to the next employer because the name recognition is there. So what I always encourage students is treat your name as a brand. How can I better improve my image of my name by either by experience, whether that's through volunteering or connecting with other people to give me some exposure of my name. That's critical in terms of managing your name and exposure. That's why I've got that listed there. Now, what's the other area that I want to bring up quickly? Is finances. Many millennials, for whatever reason in the high school level, do not talk about budgets. It's really up to you to sit down and have a budget and have a plan. Now, the school systems may have failed you, but this is something you should consider as you're looking at your overall objectives. And that's why I've got that there. You need to stick to that plan. The other thing too is you need to save early on and take advantage of the programs like the RSPs or tax-free savings account to put money away. Now, it's very critical as the millennials start going through their development to sit down and really map things out. Don't take anything what somebody says for granted. It's up to you to kind of do your research and kind of put your own plan in place. Thank you.